My name is Chris Emery. I am a Fa'afafine multidisciplinary artist of Samoan, Uvea Futunin, and European descent. I've been staying here in Hawaii for about 6 to 7 years now after having moved here from Tutuila, American Samoa. In terms of my work, I like to focus on themes of Pacifica queerness, Pacifica knowledge and understanding of the world, and really just dedicate myself to, in any way, uplifting um, my home. Being a fa'afafine is it's a little funky when you try to understand gender from, I guess, a Western understanding. Fa'afafine, to break it down for you, is fa'a, which is the essence of, and fafine, which is woman in Samoan. So it's saying you are embodying the essence of a woman. However, it doesn't say that you are a man trying to be a woman. It's funky because there are various standards of what it is to be a queer person that are already kind of put in place. But then, because of who you are and how you're connected to the islands, you also have like an understanding of gender and race that you're connected to, like in a different direction from Western society. So you constantly feel this pull from the majority of your peers, depending on where you live in the island, being queer people who adhere to mainstream queer culture in America, as opposed to really interacting with fellow native queer people who might actually just be straight from the islands. So I'm like at this weird inner pass where like I totally am trying to like live in both of these worlds, and then also totally am having to constantly have conversations with each other. This binary of circumstance and whatever other like societal dynamics just constantly meeting at me, and just like other many like tangata pacifica who are queer, like like we are these sort of nodes that are the conversation between these various like spaces. How I navigate it, I'm working on inviting that side of my gender where, and I'm doing my best to like remain this way, but like I don't necessarily like the idea that I have to shave and then not be hairy and then to constantly like go at my body with maintenance so as to be what is considered a woman, to look like someone who is considered a woman. You know, I've grown up with the fa'afafine, the like in my life teachers or family members who had beards, who are totally out there owning who they are. You know, they were hairy because like, sis, that's just our body. Like they didn't have this pressure to, really pass. But that's not to say that there weren't fa'afafine who did have that pressure. Pronouns for me, they are important in navigating being in a Western colonized space. It's basically like trying to translate who I am in the language of like the environment that I'm in, that like the language that I have to basically like, I'm not speaking it because I want to be speaking it every day. In many Pacific languages, there are no pronouns. So when I interact with my gender and like with pronouns, I tend to be much more not so on edge about it, because I know that back home it wouldn't really matter because the words don't really exist there. What I do my best to do is, no matter how I feel about pronouns for myself, I do know that it's important to my loved ones and siblings around the world And so one way to contribute to just creating a better environment is to just correct anybody on your pronouns, on your friends' pronouns, on your loved ones' pronouns, whether you think it's necessary for you or not. I can't say that it's to the level that I see reality is in other places, but there still is violence. A lot of it is familial. You know, it's violence that you don't see out on the streets. And then there is the violence that happens on the streets, typically to the South Pacific Islanders who are queer and are sex workers. So like while there is violence, there's also this like kind of like weird like quiet toxic layer of a threat. Like there's still a feeling of, you know, look over your shoulder, definitely. And I think that that'll be a reality for us for a while because of all the trauma and the the ongoing trauma and violence against us. Toxicity and violence from places that you should never expect the violence to come from. That just kind of pushes me and I feel many other queer Tangata Pacifica trans women, Fafafine, to have a stronger desire to just like, you know, leave the house already. To like literally their only goal is to just work their asses off, then become self sustainable so that they don't have to bend to anybody's dictation, abuse coming from whoever they're dependent on at the time. And you know these are girls who like are fresh out of high school, still in high school, just coming out of college. It's universal for us, and it's also worth it to have a conversation about the queer and trans people in the Pacific who don't experience that violence, and what is it that makes their experience unique to the experience of communities that you're familiar with, whether those are white middle class queer folk who are moving down here from the States, or just rich folk who have the means to pull themselves out of any rut and pretty much stay well above the poverty line, as opposed to Tangata Pacifica, specifically low income queer Tangata Pacifica. Basically, it's not all black and white.